Already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
And then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger in, Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin, he fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like not taking nothing from Canelo.
Canelo versus Crawford is being billed as the biggest fight of the year, and Teddy Atlas has given his take. He believes Terence Crawford can win no matter the weight class, praising his skill, discipline, and ability to adapt. Atlas argued that Canelo Alvarez is no longer the fighter he once was, saying the Mexican star has lost the hunger and fire that made him great. He pointed to Canelo's recent performances as signs of decline and even called him overrated when compared to Crawford. In Atlas's view, Crawford's sharpness and determination make him the clear favorite.
The urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right, if you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm gonna say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. You know, he didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you can make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, who has shared the ring with Terence Crawford, believes size won't decide the outcome of Crawford's fight with Canelo Alvarez. He argues that Crawford's skills are far superior and that his ring intelligence makes him too smart for Canelo. In his view, the difference in weight and natural size isn't enough to close the gap in IQ, adaptability, and timing that Crawford consistently shows. He sees Crawford as one of the most calculated fighters of his generation, able to adjust mid-fight and break down opponents regardless of physical advantages. According to him, Crawford controls pace, distance, and rhythm, factors that matter more than size. For Mean Machine, this fight clearly favors Crawford.
It's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way like when you see like, oh, he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size and that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters, and Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be like even faster, and like his head works good in the ring. He's like boxing IQ just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not like I'm just giving an example, like size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say like, oh, like Canelo is big and he's fighting like 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from like 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and like that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just like that I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not like, and lots of people gain weight like that sloppy weight, like I would say like fat, but he gained like, he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford?
Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is what makes difference.
Mean Machine compares the upcoming Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight to Canelo's 2013 matchup with Floyd Mayweather. Back then, Canelo was young and less experienced, and Mayweather dominated him with speed, defense, and ring IQ. Mean Machine believes Crawford can use a similar game plan with movement, accuracy, and sharp counterpunching to neutralize Canelo's weapons. Still, he points out one key difference. Canelo today is far more experienced. Over the years, he has faced top-level opponents, learned to adapt, and developed patience that he lacked in the Mayweather fight.
Throw hard, but they just throw. And he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo, and Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly. They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And that's why they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first.
Regis Prograis offers a different perspective. The former world champion doubts that Crawford's punches will have much effect on a naturally bigger, iron-chin fighter like Canelo Alvarez. He notes that Canelo has taken shots from some of the hardest punchers in boxing, men larger than Crawford, and has proven nearly impossible to shake. Still, Prograis doesn't dismiss Crawford entirely. While he questions Crawford's power, he admits the Nebraska star has the skill, strategy, and determination to win. In his view, Crawford's world-class technique, ability to switch stances, and flawless execution make him a dangerous opponent, even for someone as tough as Canelo.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at it. And then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight. Like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, DeLaura, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about a great. This might be. People might kill me for it, but not really. But this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Terence Crawford, shares Regis Prograis' doubts. Vargas says he doesn't believe Crawford can hurt Canelo, having felt his punches firsthand in sparring. He admits Crawford is sharp and accurate, but not heavy-handed enough to seriously trouble someone with Canelo's size and durability. Vargas notes that Alvarez has already faced and withstood the power of much bigger fighters, raising doubts about Crawford's ability to pose the same threat. Still, Vargas doesn't count him out completely. He acknowledges that timing, accuracy, and consistency can wear down even the toughest opponents. However, in his view, Crawford's punches may not have enough weight to stop Canelo from applying constant pressure.
Gonna be done in camp.
All we're doing is putting the final touches. I've been sparring Ron Ellis. This guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68, big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez, so you know, he's a veteran. He's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And, you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like
Mickey Bay takes a more controversial view, accusing Canelo Alvarez of cherry-picking by agreeing to fight Terence Crawford. Bay argues that Alvarez has often been selective with his opponents, choosing fights where timing or size favors him. In this case, he believes Canelo saw Crawford as a smaller fighter moving up in weight, giving him a physical advantage. Many critics in boxing share this opinion, saying Alvarez is using his size and strength to gain the upper hand against a naturally lighter man. Bay points out that this perception has sparked backlash, with fans and analysts questioning the fairness of the matchup. Still, he admits Crawford is far too skilled to be dismissed. Even with Canelo as the bigger man, Crawford's intelligence and adaptability could turn the fight in his favor.
It seemed like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
No, he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you've been fighting at. Like, Terence put his weight on, so it's a difference. No, Canelo's a lot bigger, like, hands down. Like, just mass, as far as mass, he naturally that thick. You know, he got to come down. Terence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that. That's like putting a dude, Benavidez, as a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean he a heavyweight, though. So Canelo is by far the bigger man. We didn't seen him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm and hurt him. Like, he didn't hurt Kovalev, light heavyweight. So I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev?
Just period at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Did he?
Nah, he just Kovalev. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might have only fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there though, and he fought way up in light heavyweight, but he been at super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he gotta hurt Crawford, or he gotta get his major respect. He gotta get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he gotta survive. If he can't that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford, he needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo gonna line you up for...
Tom Loeffler takes a different angle, focusing less on fairness and more on the spectacle of Canelo versus Crawford. As a promoter, he views this as one of the most marketable fights in modern boxing. He points out that both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are global stars with loyal fan bases that cross cultures, nations, and demographics. Loeffler explains that a matchup of this scale goes beyond the sport itself, grabbing mainstream attention and attracting casual viewers who might not normally watch boxing.
Actually being in the ring on such a high-profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that, and you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. Callum, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., from one of the biggest boxing named families, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to this sport is just so sincere. He's so real. Being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft. And his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him. I think in these weeks leading up to the fight, you know, the fighting public who does not know Callum Walsh is really going to fall in love with him, especially, you know, by fight.
Saudi boxing power broker Turki Alalshikh is credited as the driving force behind making Canelo versus Crawford happen. Analysts note that while his influence and financial support have brought many dream fights to life, not all of them are ideal matchups. In this case, critics point to the major size difference, suggesting Crawford could be at a disadvantage before the first bell. They argue the fight was created more for demand and spectacle than pure competitiveness. Still, Alalshikh's role is undeniable. Without him, this fight likely wouldn't exist. His ability to unite two of boxing's biggest stars shows his influence in shaping today's sport. Right fight or not, his vision is giving fans a rare once-in-a-generation event.
As Junior Canelo, you know, would have mopped up all of these dudes, bro. Would have mopped up all of these dudes. Like, you know, when we're coming out and saying that this is a complete mismatch and this is a joke and this is a fantasy fight, you know what I'm saying, that Turki Alalshikh dreamed of, and we know he's a big Crawford fan, knowing, you know, the level of star power that Canelo Alvarez has, and he had the bag to make this fight happen. It doesn't mean that it's a logical fight for boxing, bro. At the end of the day, man, you know, you guys tell me if Terence Crawford would have beat Triple G. Tell me if he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders. Tell me if he could beat Bivol, even though, yeah, Canelo didn't beat Bivol, but tell me if he could have beat a Sergey Kovalev. And the other loss Canelo has to Mayweather, man. Crawford, you know, nobody in the world I felt could have beat Mayweather in the height of his career, bro. Tell me if Crawford, bro, would have just flat out went in there and beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's the level of competition that Canelo faced, man. And these dudes that he went in there to beat. You know, Terence Crawford is nowhere, you know, has fought nowhere near the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has fought. And I've had some comments talking about, you know, you talk about we're going off of our emotions and you're going off of your emotions. You're not giving no facts, bro. Like, this is all facts right here, bro. The fact of the matter is, bro, Canelo Alvarez has fought at light heavyweight. The fact of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only fought once at 154 pounds. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting touched up by those right hands all night, bro. By Majumov. That's the fact, bro. The biggest, most dominating fight he ever had was against...
Trainer Dave Coldwell has long praised Terence Crawford's versatility, and he believes it will be crucial against Canelo Alvarez. Crawford's ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw gives him a rare advantage, letting him create angles, break rhythm, and keep opponents guessing. Coldwell also highlights Crawford's footwork, which allows him to move in and out of range and avoid being trapped. Against Canelo, who excels at cutting off the ring and applying pressure, this mobility could be the key. Coldwell says that if Crawford maintains distance, uses lateral movement, and avoids being pinned on the ropes, he can win rounds and possibly the fight. For him, the outcome won't depend on power but on discipline, ring IQ, and movement.
When the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch, he's very good as a southpaw. His judgment at distance is fantastic, his punch picking is fantastic, he's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned and catch you next time.